Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A 17-year-old still on his learner's licence has been killed in a crash by the side of the Brooker Highway at Rosetta this morning. Police believe the rider lost control of his motorcycle, but say he wasn't speeding at the time of the crash.
Emergency crews on the scene at Strathaven Drive as a Wednesday morning turned to tragedy. They tried to save the life of a young motorcyclist.
When police and ambulance arrived, police actually provided CPR, as did TAS Ambulance Service upon their arrival. They tried tirelessly to revive the young man, but he couldn't be revived.
Police investigators examining the bike at the centre of the crash. They believe the low-powered motorcycle lost control on the bend, but they're not sure exactly why.
He's lost control of the motorcycle. Not sure of the circumstances just yet as to why he's lost control, but he has.
Police closed Strathaven Drive behind me here while investigators examined the scene to work out what caused the crash.
It would appear to me, from the evidence I've seen, he's probably riding at 50 kilometres an hour, which is the posted speed limit in that area.
While police can confidently confirm speed was not a factor, they're calling on any witnesses to come forward.
We're appealing for assistance from the public to try and put the pieces together so we can ascertain what occurred for the family.
And hopefully providing answers about a Wednesday morning the 17-year-old's friends and family will never forget. Casey Trelaw, 7 Tasmanian News.
Parents have been warned schools across the state will close for strike action next week as teachers walk off the job. It comes as the dispute over wages between the government and unions continues to escalate.
4 months ago, thousands of Tasmanian teachers walked out of the classroom and into major protests. And now even bigger strikes are looming.
The feeling across the whole public sector is we've had enough. We're not happy with the draconian measures that the government is continuing to take and to try and silence people, and people are standing up.
Next week, state schools will either close early or start late on Tuesday and Wednesday. Educators joined by other public sectors as they rally for better pay and conditions.
It's just time. This is not an unrealistic ask. All CPSU members want is a decent and fair pay rise that is above the cost of living.
It comes after almost 9 months of failed negotiations and rejected offers. Unions meeting with the government on Friday to continue talks. The Treasurer saying previous offers were fair and reasonable, already threatening to dock the pay of those who take part in the rallies.
If they walk off the job and are not doing the role that they are employed to do, obviously they won't be paid.
We know that this sort of strike action puts huge pressure on working families. It's really an attack on working families. It stops people from being able to go to work.
A full list of school closures will be released ahead of the strikes.
The curriculum is very full, and any lengthy period of time away from the classroom is very disruptive for kids and also for parents.
Many teachers get into the profession because they want to make a difference in the lives of young people. So to take industrial action, they would think very carefully about that, and they've been backed into a corner.
Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
A widow has expressed her thanks for changes to the way dangerous roadside trees are managed in Tasmania after her husband was killed by a falling limb in 2014. The coroner praised new safety measures implemented by authorities, but found a decision not to cut down hazardous trees at Margate was misguided and to appease environmentalists.
The family of Brendan Smith walking from court at the end of a long coronial process, examining one of the most traumatic events in their lives.
The revisiting has been hard, but we've got good support in place, and we're a tight family.
The 9th of February 2014 was a day that tore this family apart, a day the state was hit with powerful storms, even cancelling the Hobart Cup. That afternoon, Mr. Smith went out for a quick trip to the shops, but that journey ended his life. On the Channel Highway at Margate, a tree striking his car, killing him instantly.
I think anyone that knew him would vouch for it. He was always a good mate,
fantastic father, can't really say too much more than that.
But Coroner McTaggart found his death resulted from compromised decision-making by the Infrastructure Department. The black gum trees involved were originally slated for removal when the highway was widened in 2000. But due to pressure from environmentalists, they weren't cut down, even when safety concerns had been raised. The coroner has praised the department's reaction since the incident. It's now set up a risk-based tree management framework to help monitor and fix any problems with roadside trees. In a statement today, the department says it's already inspected the entire state highway network.
I'm just glad that something came of this for Brendan, you know, and not only Brendan but for everyone else, and so this doesn't have to happen again.
The trees at Margate have since been removed. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian coroner has called for barriers to better protect road workers after a man was struck and killed by a driver 6 years ago. The son of Terence Close has also made his final plea with drivers to do the right thing so no family ever has to endure a similar tragedy.
For the first time in 6 years, the son of killed road worker Terence Close can leave court smiling.
Hopefully this does in some way protect someone's mother or father or brother from this happening again, so it's all positive. I'm happy.
The family's painful quest for justice started here, Vermont Road at Mowbray in February 2013. Distracted driver Murray Higgs drove through the roadworks, hitting and killing the 62-year-old. Higgs later received a 3-month suspended sentence for negligent driving causing death, while employer Altus Traffic was slapped with a $250,000 fine in 2017. Today, Coroner Simon Cooper criticised the company for not appearing at the coronial inquest, a move he labelled as insulting to the family and unhelpful. In his findings, he called for road workers to be better protected, adding under no circumstances should a road worker be without a barrier between them and a vehicle. He called for the government to adopt a standard as a code of practice in the Work Health and Safety Act.
Well, this should have happened ages ago before my father got hit and killed. So, but then again, it all comes down to people on the roads taking notice of what they've got to do, and you know, it's not hard to do.
A spokesperson for Construction Minister Sarah Courtenay said the state government would give serious consideration to today's findings. The family says they're now ready to move on.
Well, I've been trying to have closure for many years, and then it just keeps on springing up with another issue, and then lawyers drag it out. But yeah, no, this is closure for me.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A man accused of robbing a Mowbray bank has been found guilty by a Supreme Court jury. Marcus Dennis Main held up staff at knife point inside the ANZ branch in September of 2017. The 32-year-old had maintained his innocence. However, a jury took just over 3 hours to find him guilty. Main was removed from the court after shouting and spitting. He's been remanded in custody to face court again for sentencing in April. Police are still hunting for 3 women following a violent assault against a 76-year-old man in Fingal yesterday. It's believed the attackers broke into the home just after midnight, bashing the sleeping man and demanding money. Police describe the main offender as tall, having a large build and aged in her 50s. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. The Hobart victim of a shark attack in the Whitsundays has spoken out about what he's called the freak accident. 25-year-old Ryan Bowring is tonight recovering in a Queensland hospital after he was bitten several times while working in waters off Airlie Beach on Monday. In a statement, he said he'd only been in the water for around 20 seconds when he felt the first bite. Saying he's being well looked after in hospital after surgery, Ryan is now focusing on recovering and getting back to work. He's reiterated his love for the water and the reef, thanking everyone for their assistance. A Tasmanian poultry farmer is on a mission to dispel the fears that surround how chickens are kept in egg-laying farms. John Sattler is so passionate about changing the industry's reputation, he's opening up his farm for the public to see inside.
Chicken laying is often seen as controversial, with dozens of animal welfare groups calling it inhumane and cruel. Videos are created of the hens living on wire floors with no feathers and limited food. That image makes poultry farmer John Sattler angry and has fired him up to make changes.
There's all kinds of myths, and of course that's just totally untrue in today's modern poultry farming.
Pure Foods is the largest egg producer in Tasmania and will soon be opening its doors to the public for the first time. Visitors will be able to see firsthand where the chickens are kept and how the eggs get from here to the carton.
Consumers are already quite interested in understanding where food comes from, and agritourism in Australia is quite a large industry.
This is one of several free-range sheds, which has the latest technology and temperature controlling, and the birds are just as curious about you as we are them, having no issue approaching visitors. This is Penny. She's one of 160,000 chickens on this farm, and although she looks fully grown, she's still only 29 weeks old. Over in the caged sheds, visitors can walk down the aisles and see exactly where the eggs come from. And while it's hoped these tours will change public perceptions, the industry still isn't without its issues. Recently, eggs were recalled from right across Australia after a possible salmonella contamination was detected in a Victorian farm. John, though, isn't concerned, saying it's unlikely that will happen here.
I think the risk here is very minimal. But just the same, we do have to keep an eye out for what's happening. We're very lucky in Tasmania that we're an island, and we're quite well protected for that reason.
Tours will be run every Wednesday from next month at the Longford Farm, with morning tea at Walmers Estate to follow. Jessica Moran, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians impacted by this summer's bushfires have been given a discount on their next quarterly water bill. Taswater has revealed it will give residents living in areas which were in a Watch and Act or emergency level a $50 reduction, saying more than 2,500 customers were impacted throughout the Huon Valley, Medina, Central Highlands and West Coast. During the fires, Taswater urged residents to limit their water usage, with some areas almost running out completely. Heavy rain from ex-tropical cyclone Trevor is drenching Western Australia. Locals are now enjoying saturated paddocks and dams that are full after 3 days of constant rain. 200 millimetres has been recorded in some areas. While many welcome the deluge, some graziers are concerned the ground is too soft and their stock may become stuck. Tasmanians are being urged to check lottery tickets, with one lucky winner yet to claim a $23 million prize from last night's Oz Lotto draw. The lucky ticket was purchased at Hobart City Lotto and shares a third of the Division 1 prize pool. The other shares going to a Melbourne man who accidentally bought 2 winning tickets.
Well, it's never been a better time to be an aspiring young Tasmanian footballer. That's according to the state's next crop of talent, who'll be on show in Sydney this weekend for the Devils' first game back in the NAB League for years. The buzz has been building for months. Now it's finally time to show the rest of the country what Tassie's next generation of footballers can do.
Playing within the best under-18 competition nationwide, I think, is a great opportunity for them. So something that's really exciting. With
the Devils re-entering the NAB League, formerly known as the TAC Cup, for the first time since 2002, Tasmania begins its campaign this Saturday against the Sydney Swans Academy side. And our best young talent are raring to go, especially up against the strongest AFL state in the country.
Just get that exposure in, like playing over against Victorians, and they're probably the best of the best, like 60 or something percent, like get drafted from there. So
we get to compare ourselves on a weekly basis against the best kids in the country, which I think is going to extend the boys playing within our programs to bigger and better things.
The squad is currently sitting at 55 players, set to be narrowed down to 24 in the coming days. And with the Tasmanian VFL licence on the cards in the next 2 years, the cream of the playing crop has never been more keen to rise to the top.
Well, even the possibility of Tassie getting a team in the VFL sort of gives us a boost of confidence just to keep on playing with this brand and this pathway.
A good learning experience, and I'm always wanting to get better and keen to learn new things.
We've explained it to the boys that we're swimming with a big fish now.
Richie Port's turbulent start to 2019 has continued, with the Tasmanian cyclist slipping down the rankings at the Volta Catalunya event in Spain. Port lost a further 12 seconds during stage 2 and is sitting 63rd overall, with fellow Tasmanian Will Clark also struggling to keep up with the peloton, currently in 151st position. To basketball, and despite losing several of their best players in the off-season, Launceston Tornadoes coach Derek Washington says expect his side to come out firing in the new NBL1 competition. And Washington is adamant the club's new imports, along with its local talent, are more than enough to fill the void. The Tawns fell just one win short of clinching last year's Seabull title, all now ancient history, according to Washington.
Our local talent this year is going to surprise a lot of people. We have a lot of players on the team that a lot of the league has not seen, which is going to be an advantage for us.
Having lost their three most experienced players in Lauren Mansfield, Ali Wilson and Lauren Nicholson, the Tawns head into the NBL1 season with a new look list, and the coach says he's more than confident new imports Brittany Hodges, Stella Beck and Stephanie Gardner will be able to fill those leadership voids.
Finally got 2 Americans on my team this year, so I think we'll be able to get my vision across real quick this year.
The side begins its 2019 campaign at home on Saturday night against the Southern Sabres, and the club is urging locals to pack out Elfin Stadium and set the tone for a successful year in the new competition.
Definitely be competitive this season. This year isn't really a challenge to me, I believe, just because everybody on this team can play the game of basketball. Everybody can make a play, everybody can create.
Good evening. Things warmed up late in the day today, with Fingal and Campania both reaching 24 after 3 p.m. Hobart, Launceston and Burnie 20, Devonport 19 degrees. A cool night with Lyawini dropping to -4, while today St Helens reached 23, Ouse 22, Friendly Beaches 21, Flinders Island, Low Head and Lyawini 19, King Island and Strawn 18 degrees. Low-level clouds streamed through the West and Bass Strait today, clear skies over the rest of the state. Now, that low cloud also over the South Australia Victorian border region with the westerly airstream. A thick band extends through Queensland and northeast New South Wales. The speckled cellular cloud shows a pool of cold air. Tomorrow, a cold front approaches Tasmania. A high pressure ridge builds to the west, while a fair portion of the mainland affected by a broad area of low pressure. Northeast to northwest winds reaching 20 to 30 knots over the west and south, lighter winds over northern waters and inland. We do have a strong wind warning, that's from Southeast Cape to Sandy Cape. Conditions in Hobart tomorrow, mostly sunny, 10 overnight, 23 the top, 22 for Cygnet, early fog for New Norfolk, but 24 in the afternoon. Launceston 23 the top, partly cloudy also for Devonport on 21 and Campbelltown 22 degrees. Burnie partly cloudy and 21 also for Strawn and Smithton, maybe a light shower in the west, and in the east tomorrow mostly sunny, 23 for St Helens, Swansea and Fingal. UV settling at 6 right across the state. On Friday, rain developing over the west in the morning, then gradually extending across Tasmania. Showers on Saturday, clearing from the southeast in the morning and contracting to the west by evening. And on Sunday, fine and partly cloudy, apart from a few showers over the west, extending to the south. Mostly sunny and 31 in Perth tomorrow. Sunny 27s for Adelaide and Melbourne. Fine and partly cloudy weather for Canberra and Sydney. Rain at times for Brisbane. Fine and clear here. Hobart 19 at the moment, Launceston 17 and Devonport 16. That's the current conditions, Joe. Temperatures into the 20s again tomorrow.
Oh, that's a bit nicer. Thanks very much, Murph. That's all from the team for now. Have a great evening. We'll see you with updates a little later. Bye for now.